So welcome back to Networking and Working Your Resume, and excited to jump into Module 3, Informational Interviews. Want to highlight the word interview here. We are engaging in these to find a story and to hear some answers to the questions that we have. So an overview of the informational interview flow. In the interview, we're going to introduce ourselves and give some of our background. So we can keep this short and sweet, really. Give them just enough context to help them to understand how to relate to you. So this can be your elevator pitch, thinking about this as your opportunity to hone your skills at succinctly communicating your story. After all, you're at this meeting so that you can learn something from someone else. So don't spend 20 minutes, the whole 20 minutes of your informational interview talking about yourself. You can think about that number one question we always get in interviews. Tell us a little bit about your journey and share that. And then second, we're going to communicate our goal. So tell them why you're excited to talk and what you're hoping to get out of your time together. What are you trying to get out of this meeting? This ties back to the challenges that you wrote earlier. And remembering that these questions are going to be specific to the person who you're in conversation with. So knowing your goal ahead of the meeting, is your goal to understand how to make your resume stand out, explore a potential career in campaign management, to know how to get a job at that company, going one step further than just, I want to learn more about X. And we're going to connect. We're going to ask them about their journey, ask them about how they got where they are now, and give the person we're talking to the opportunity to speak about themselves, asking pointed questions. How did you end up in this job? What do you like most about what you're doing? What do you see as the next step in your career? These sort of specific pointed questions of the person you're speaking to. And then we go into interview mode. And you'll be ready for this because you've introduced yourself, you've talked about your goals, you've made an initial connection, and now you're really going to dig into the meat of your interview with the questions that you've prepared ahead of time. So, here are some examples of, questions for either an experience or around applications for informational interviews. So remembering that your questions should tie back to your goals, but maybe your questions are more experience-based, such as, how did you get here? How did you make it happen? What is something you'd wish you'd known before getting into this work? Or it might be application type questions, which, is often underutilized in networking. So you can also mine this opportunity to help make your job application stand out. What skills or characteristics have benefited you most in this industry? When hiring for this role, what skills do you look for? So regardless of if you're asking experience or application questions, remembering that you're looking for information. So these type of questions will really help you to get the most helpful information. So now it's your turn. You're going to take 5 minutes to write down interview questions based on your challenge questions. Great. And now that you've done that, your final step is an ask. You want to ask this person for something. This ask can be a lot of different things, but we want to understand the next steps and ask for their help if appropriate. This is going to be specific to what you've discussed during your informational interview. So we maybe encourage you to shy away from immediately or defaulting to asking for another connection. That might be appropriate if, during the course of that interview, they mentioned someone who would be good to talk to. But, there are some other questions you can ask here. Would you give me tips on my resume? If I apply to this job, would you mind letting them know? So again, this will be individual to your informational interview, and you'll get a sense through the conversation what is the right ask to be making. And then always follow up, even if this is just to thank them for their time at the bare minimum. We want to follow up, thank them for the time that they offered, and also briefly mention something from your conversation that was helpful. So our key takeaways here, networking really helps you get the job. Remember that statistic that we shared in Module 1, 85% of jobs filled are filled through networking, filled through someone we know. And remembering to reach out and always say yes to the coffee or the call. We don't want to just wait for things to fall in our lap and come to us. We need to go out there and make connections, but then also saying yes when someone asks us to be that connection as well. Understanding the use of informational interviews, using them to learn about a job or industry, and understand what hiring managers are looking for in an application. And then using all of this information that you've gathered to either adapt your resume and your cover letter, bringing this all together to help in your job search and figuring out next steps. So with that shared, I want to invite you to take a moment to think about your mindsets. What mindsets do you want to adapt towards networking and working your resume moving forward? And then we'll also invite you to join us on Arena Careers. You can join Arena Careers by going to app.arena.run, and want to thank you for joining us for these modules.